y'all, and welcome to Benevolence, where kindness matters and all are welcome to the table. I'm your host, Ceci Diaz, and first and foremost, I would like to thank each and every one of you for supporting me on this Benevolence podcast. I pray that as you tune in every week, you are empowered, blessed, and encouraged to be the best version of yourself. You are tuning into episode 4, Embrace the Suck. Today's episode of Benevolence is very special. You're probably wondering why the episode is called Embrace the Suck, so let me explain. Embrace the Suck is a military slang that means to consciously accept or appreciate something that is extremely unpleasant but unavoidable for forward progression. And as a military niece, many of my uncles and aunts are in the military. This term basically applies to those who serve in the military. Pretty much like, I've been there, you've been there, this ain't easy. Being apart from your family is not easy, but it's something that we have to do, so let's just deal with it. On this episode, we will be diving into a new and different perspective of the life of a military marriage. And to give us some insight of those experiences, I have a very special person who will be joining me at the table to tell us about her journey as a military wife. I've known her for many years. I've practically seen her grow up until a beautiful, beautiful mother, young lady, not even young lady, because I don't know, You're like in your mid-20s. Like, I don't know why I'm calling you young. But I've literally seen her grow up and flourish and get married and become a mother. So it's just been amazing. And I've known her, to always be strong, and through the outside looking in this military marriage, she exemplifies everything with stride, no matter what the challenges, she faces due to her circumstance and her situation. So without further ado, I have my friend Valeria Albarran-Rivera.
Yay! You got
joining
it.
me at the table today. Hey, girl.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Thank you for joining me at the table.
No problem.
This is going to be so cool and so much fun.
I know.
So before we begin, go ahead and tell our listeners a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so like Ceci said, my name is Valeria. I am 26 years old. I am married, been married actually. I just turned 6 years of marriage.
Nice.
And I have my son who is 1. And I'm currently back in Orlando temporarily, and we'll get that into why I'm here. But I like to dance. I do photography, and I'm just a mom, stay-at-home mom.
That's awesome. You know what's funny? I remember that post. You had posted a shout out for one of our friends. We have the same friends. And her birthday had just passed, and you posted one of those pictures or videos of the poodle skirts.
Oh my God,
will never
saw
forget that.
And I was like, I have to show her. Like, I couldn't believe how long I knew her, and that made me realize how long I knew you, how long I knew some other people. I'm like, oh my God, it's been like over 10 years.
It's over 10 years for sure. Because you knew me, like, I remember when you're, like, I met you a little after, I'd met you through Angelito. Because you're Angelito's cousin.
Yes.
But then I remember when he first got here, it wasn't just him, it was like all of you.
Yeah, we all came literally the same week.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't even planned.
Oh my God.
I told them, I was like, hey, are you guys moving to Florida too? They're like, yeah. I'm like, oh, I'm moving this day. And they're like, oh, we're moving 3 days after. We're like, okay, cool. Like,
yeah.
Oh my
goodness, that's so awesome. That's so awesome. And then you showed me that picture last time we saw each other.
Yes.
Of like the cowboy thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that's like when we first like knew each other.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So
it was
we
like
go
a year after I moved. Yeah.
Back.
For sure.
That's awesome. So let's just get right to it.
Okay.
Tell us about how you met your husband. How long have you been together? Obviously you already answered that question.
Yes.
But I'm saying, like, did you marry him before, after he joined the military and stuff, like all those extra?
Okay, so I met my husband in high school. So we were high school sweethearts. We met in ROTC of our school. I joined half of my junior year, and at that time we only had 6 periods, so it was technically an after school period, so it was 7, but not 7, so whatever. And then so we met through there, and then about a year, almost 2 after, we got married. So we married right before he did his first deployment. So it was after his initial, like, getting into the military. He is in the Army. because literally right after high school, he had to wait a couple months till he turned 18, and then he wouldn't go ahead and went in. So, and then we got married, but we've been together for over almost 8 years.
Wow.
Like since we known each other and started dating, and then 6 married.
And you were in ROTC, but you weren't thinking about joining the military, or were you?
No, I really wasn't. I mean, I guess when I started really getting into it, because I started like going to like competitions and all this stuff, and I was like I ended up being like an officer within the NJROTC, and I really liked the whole discipline, the uniform. Like I'm very like organized person, and I liked everything planned, so it kind of like felt like right. But I started looking into the boot camps and like on YouTube, and I was like, no I'm way. Good.
Yeah.
I'm totally good. So,
because there's like requirements. Aren't there requirements?
Yes, there's requirements. Yeah, because I was thinking, well, maybe if I go Army, like, I don't know. And then I was like, Marines, no. I'm like, Air Force is going to be too hard for me because I'm not like really IT or anything, or pilot or anything like that. See. So I was thinking maybe the Coast Guard, because it almost has like a little bit of everything.
Okay.
But then I looked at their boot camp, and my cousin actually is in the Coast Guard, and he lives in Miami. And I saw his training, and he told me stories. And when he went through, and I was like, I think I'm good. I was just being like the spouse.
Yeah.
And then, because as I was thinking about that, I was like, if he really joins, because at this point when I was thinking about it, I didn't know if he was going to 100%. I know it was something that he was thinking about, but I wasn't sure. And I was like, if we end up together, and we're both in the military, like, are we going to be stationed in the same place? What happens to our kids if we both get deployed and stuff like that? So I just kind of like took a step back, and I was like, no, I'm not going to do this,
You know what's funny? My uncle and aunt, they met overseas.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
They met over there, and they've been together for almost 15 plus years.
Yeah.
But awesome. It's funny, they met over there. They were doing the same thing. They were in the same rank, and they fell in love.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's cool.
Yeah.
And then I have my other uncle who he's in the Army, but my aunt, she works for the county.
Okay, yeah.
So it's like, and then I have another uncle who he actually was stationed in either North or South Carolina, just this past year. Yeah. And he finally came back home.
Wow.
And he made that decision to go because obviously financially it was looking amazing.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes you have to like make those sacrifices in order to like help your family out.
Yeah.
So that's what he did, and he's been back, but I know that it's not easy because, like, my aunt, she has 2 kids, and it was very difficult for her.
Yeah.
So, but we'll get into those questions very soon.
Yes.
So, now one of the questions was, like, did you really know what you were going to get yourself into while you were dating your husband, when you knew? How did you prepare your mind for what was going to come, like deployments and things like that?
Yeah, so, when he told me he was gonna go in, I was just like, okay. I really didn't think about it much because we were dating, and I didn't know if it was gonna be like a long thing, sorry, babe. But so once we got engaged, I was like, okay, like, this is serious. Like, I need to start like looking into stuff. So I mostly did research. I actually saw this series called Army Wife.
Yeah. Yes. I know exactly.
I watched 5 or 6 seasons, and that's very like dramatic. And
because I was gonna ask, is that like real? Is that like real life?
Some things I can see, like, I can like envision myself being in that place, especially when it came to like the deployment and stuff on the TV show. But a lot of the other stuff, it's like over dramatic.
Yeah, over dramatic.
Yeah,
okay,
for
so
sure.
It's like,
and then
it's reality TV.
Yes,
so they're gonna
exactly.
Add a lot of drama.
But it did have some parts I was like, okay, and then I now have gone through, and then research on the TV show, and then my mother-in-law, because her husband, or my father-in-law, has been in the Army. He's retired, and so they went through the whole 20 years, you know, with kids and like traveling and stuff like that. So she was like kind of one of my main sources to go to and ask her a couple questions. Also, I have my best friend, actually, she just joined the Air Force, but before she joined, her husband also is in the Marines, and so they've been to Germany and other places. So I also had her because they both kind of went in around like 1 or 2 years from each other, like her husband and mine. So we were able to like communicate and talk about what she's going through, what I'm going through, and even though it's a 2 different branch, it was a lot similar stuff. Okay. So I also had her too.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, like people to support, people that like know about it, about the lifestyle. Yeah,
I feel like if you're alone, it's very lonely, like, because it's so different.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. You know, I know we kind of touched it here and there, but what were some of the basic challenges that you faced? Like, what were the first challenges that you as a wife had to face with him being in the military?
I think living on my own for the first time ever in a new state.
Yeah. I get it.
So,
okay, first of all, pause.
Yeah. Okay.
You're Latina. She is, for those that don't know, ella es puertorriqueña. And she comes from a very large family.
Yes.
Her cousins are they're numerous.
Ceci would know.
Yes. She has a large family. So just to kind of like add emphasis to what you're going to answer, you know, you did a 180.
Yes.
You know, so go ahead and explain. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. No, thank you for saying that. So when I got married, I stayed back home because a month later after we got married, he went on deployment.
Wow.
So I didn't feel like it was right for me to move and then be by myself for like 9 months while he's like away overseas. So I just stayed at home for those 9 months. I finished my school. Nice. And then once he came back, about 2 weeks before, I moved. So I moved for the first time ever outside of my house. I've never lived on my own, and then this was a completely new state for me. So I didn't have anybody. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know where was the closest Walmart.
Oh, my goodness.
And like the Publix was 30 minutes away.
No.
It was bad. And so that was basically one of the first challenges, was not only living by myself for those 2 weeks alone, but then living with somebody else. Like that, basically my second year of marriage was my first year. Because my first year I didn't really have it with him because he was gone.
Exactly.
So I had to like, I don't know, get used to the fact I had to like cook for somebody else and like, because I never cooked for myself.
Oh, yeah, I get it, girl.
And all this stuff that came with marriage, because it was all so fresh. And then I feel like it was twice as hard because I didn't have anybody there.
Yeah.
Family-wise. Neither of us, him or myself.
Okay. And did you like make friends? Did you eventually join a community?
Yeah,
or
eventually.
You just stuck it out alone the whole time?
For like, I think the first year I was like very like to myself and just didn't really leave anywhere. If I would go somewhere, it would be like Walmart to like groceries and stuff like that. But by the second year rolled up, I kind of started getting a little bit more familiar of like where things are at. I started driving more, and then my husband, he's really into cars, and so he started like heading out and to like little car meets and stuff like that, and then he would bring me along, and so that's how I started meeting like girlfriends and wives of other car people.
That's so cool.
So then that's how I met everybody that I know in Tennessee, and so I call them like the car group, like car people.
Tennessee, that's like a little weird.
What?
So wait, Tennessee isn't, it's predominantly Caucasian, right? Or do they have like other diverse cultures?
I think majority is, but there is, at least because where I was, it was Clarksville. Because of the base, there's so many different people.
Because the base, you're gonna have everybody.
Exactly. Yeah. So you had your Hispanics, your blacks, your whites, and mixed, and everybody. Everybody was there. So I guess I didn't see that really, unless I kind of drove up onto more like Nashville kind of thing. But in Clarksville, because of the military base, it was very diverse.
And then they had that car club, right?
Yeah, they have a car meet, and it was every Friday, so we would do that, and so that was very fun. That's how I got to meet more people.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's so good. So What was the longest separation, and how were you able to cope with it? I know that you already mentioned like how coping with it and staying at home and things like that, but then like involving, did you continue school? Did you pick up a hobby? So first, how long was the first separation and the longest separation, and then how did you just get through that time?
Yeah. So I have two, I guess, answers for that. The first one technically would be when he went to Korea. He did a whole year, a 1-year tour. Wow. However, he did came 6 months in. He came for 2 weeks, and then he did the rest of the 6 months.
Okay.
But longest, as in like no, not seeing him for that period of time would be the 9 months, which would be the first deployment and now the second deployment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then how I coped with it was when I was in, the first one would be school, and I was back home, so it was a little bit easier that way to get busy with family and stuff like that. And then I also did work. When he was in Korea, I also worked. I also came back home, so I stayed with my parents. I didn't go back to school, but I did end up getting pregnant when he came for vacation for those 2 weeks.
That's awesome.
And then for the rest of the 5-ish, 6 months, I was pregnant, so I was just worried about being pregnant. Because
that comes with another cloud of worries that you need to worry about. Wow. So you had mentioned that he is deployed again.
Yes, he is.
And for how long would he be?
It would be almost a year.
Wow.
And he's in the Middle Eastern.
Okay. And that's why you've come home.
That's why I am back home.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's good, because you have your family here.
Yes.
You don't have to be by yourself.
Yeah, especially with a kid. I didn't want to be by myself. If he needs to go to the hospital, like who do I call and stuff like that, because I'm still ratherly new to Texas still, and I do have like a couple friends here and there, but it's not as much as if I had family, you know.
Is this experience the first time with Kenyan?
Yes.
So
very different from my first one, yes, because my first one was just me. I was 21 when he left, and I was still in school, I was working, and I had a lot going on, and now I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I have a 1-year-old who's constantly saying ba 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 ba, and like he FaceTimes him, and it's just like, it's a lot harder now, for sure.
It's hard, absolutely. But then you have like him.
A kid,
you have a kid. So like you have to raise them. You have to continue. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't just pause your life because he left.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So how did you handle school or your career while he was away? Did you have your AA?
Yes.
So,
AS, yeah.
Your AS. So you were able to complete that within the first deployment. Right?
Yes, because I was already almost done. Because after high school, I went straight to college.
Okay.
And so when he left, I think I only had like 2 or 3 classes left.
Oh, okay.
And then I was basically full time.
And what is it that you want to study?
So I study office administration.
Okay.
Which is kind of like secretary work.
Yeah.
I love anything computer, filing, paperwork.
Like human resources.
Yes, I love all that stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, organizing, everything, all of that. Like,
girl, you're my type of girl, because I love that too. I'm very like,
I love my planners.
Teeth. Yes.
I love pencils,
highlighters. Like, no lie.
I know.
I have journals from years, and I keep them because I don't know.
They're cute.
They're cute.
There's no other thing but cute. My mom's like, you're getting another calendar. I'm like, it's cute.
It's cute.
Even if I don't use it all year, I still want a new one every year.
Yes.
One for each theme that I'm thinking about.
Absolutely,
like color coordinated. My closet's color coordinated.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my god. Mine's
crazy.
too. I'm not gonna like I have my blacks and then my whites.
Yep.
And then like it gradually, like if I have like maybe an orange or something, I'll stick it like with the yellows.
Yes,
and the
that's so me.
And then like the tank tops and the tank tops. Oh my god.
Okay, see, mine is like white from black and then color in the middle, right? Try to like scratch it as I can, right? Because you always have like those blouses are like, that doesn't go anywhere. So I just stick it somewhere. And then within my color scheme, I have tank tops all the way to long sleeve.
Okay, so you have it like that.
Yeah, I have it like oh yeah. My husband comes in and he's like, I don't know where to put your stuff. I'm like, just leave it in the bed.
Yeah,
I got it.
The same. Don't touch my stuff.
Yeah.
I got it. You can touch your stuff, but don't touch mine.
Yes. That's so funny.
So what are your biggest fears?
My biggest fears when it comes to like the military job is, I guess, number one would be death.
Obviously.
You know, when he's overseas, it's a lot riskier, you know, and stuff like that. And then PTSD. So any year, doesn't matter how long you are, you can always somehow get PTSD. Yeah. So that's why when people tell us like, oh, re-enlist, it's just 4 more years to go, or it's 10 more and you can retire. It's like, yeah, but within those, like, the risk is there. Yeah. You know, it's not like it's like 6 more months. You know, it's like years. So, and within those years, he could get PTSD or even worse. Yeah. So, it's something to really consider before you even re-enlist.
It can come out in different ways.
Yes. You know, it doesn't physically have to be going over there.
Everybody deals with it differently.
Yes.
You know, and I completely agree with why that would be a fear, because you know, your wife, you love him, you have to deal with it regardless. Then you have to raise a child at the same time, help, you know what I mean? So those are obviously things that you have to think about. Yes. While he's struggling, you're supporting him, you're raising your child. It's a lot. Yeah. So I completely understand.
Agree.
Who are your biggest influences and supporters throughout your marriage and your journey?
I think for both of us, it's definitely our family. Our parents have been there always. When it comes to like military stuff, we definitely talk to his parents since they have been in the military. They know a lot of information. Our friends that are also in the military, we talk to them all the time, and they definitely support us. We support them, kind of thing. The FRG is something that the military base has for spouses. Whether you're a wife.
What does FRG mean? Do you know?
I don't know.
I put you on the spot. I'm so sorry. It's okay.
I went deer. Okay, so I don't know exactly
the name of it. Keep going.
But the group is basically there for, especially when you they deploy. It's there for the spouses. So they email you, they make sure you're okay, they call you probably once a month.
Okay.
They'll call you, and if anything happens, they're the first one to let you know.
Wow.
So it's just a way of communication of all these other wives and husbands that their significant other is away, and they are able to reach out to you and let you know what's going on.
Wow.
Yeah. So you don't have to watch the news.
Yeah.
Don't watch the news.
No, don't watch the news.
No.
Ugh, I know.
It's bad.
Yeah, it is. Especially, in your position. You know what I mean? You don't want to go there.
No.
So now that we have concluded the questionnaire part, let's go ahead and hit some military misconceptions.
Okay.
Because I did my research, checked every single source as possible, and these are the ones that come up the most.
Okay.
And you could just debunk them and say no or yes or what and explain.
Okay.
So the first one is military marriages have way too many kids.
No. I only have one.
Yes.
And I'm only planning on 2 if we do stay in the military. And a lot of my friends only have 1 or 2.
Okay.
That's it right now.
That's probably like a old thing, back in the day thing.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it could be like that with everybody, back then when there was no TV. Everybody,
true. Yeah.
Not necessarily in the military world.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right. Next one is all military couples get to travel the world.
Yes and no. Depending on your MOS, which is your job, you can travel a lot more or a lot farther, depending on what your job is. Like my husband, his job, because he is a mechanic for a helicopter, a specific helicopter, that helicopter cannot be in every place in the world because of the environment and just other things. So he can only really go 8 places in the world. Whether other people, they have 15 places they can go, or 18. So it all depends on your job, and also the military. For the Army, you can choose, I think it's about 5 places that you want to go, and the Army would send you if there's space available to any of those. If not, they choose another random one, or they'll give you a random list of 3 other additionals that you would have to choose. Okay. So it all kind of like varies on if there's availability for your certain rank, your certain job in that place, and if you're even able to go there because of your job.
That's kind of crazy.
So yeah, there's like a lot of variables to see if you can actually travel or not travel.
And you mentioned that where you guys were stationed, that wasn't even on the list.
Yeah,
right?
the 2 times.
Oh my goodness.
So the first time my husband joined the military, he put 5 different places. We actually talked about it, of which ones we want to go and stuff like that. And the one that we got, which is Fort Campbell in Kentucky. Most of the base is in Tennessee. That's why I say I lived in Tennessee. Wasn't even on our list. So
oh my goodness.
He just terrible. Went there. And then the second time we got moved, which was Texas, we didn't even get to choose a list. Like, we didn't have to like make a list. They just gave us 3 options. These are the places that are not overcrowded within your job, within your rank, especially because now him plus dependents, so that also plays a part if you have a spouse or not. And they're like, these are the 3 places, and 2 of them were in Texas, and then 1 was in Kansas, and we were like, which ones? You know, okay, for hood.
Yeah. Texas is nice. I've never been there, but I've heard it's really nice.
I mean, it's good. I like where we at. I like that every big city is super close.
Okay.
Like, Austin is 1 hour away. Waco is 1 hour away. And that's where Magnolia and
I know. I saw you there the other day.
I know. I was like, yes, Chimajuana. And then Dallas is like 2.5.
Okay.
I think the farthest away is Houston, which is 4, and then San Antonio is like 2.5.
Okay.
So I have like all the big cities right there. That's and awesome. The only thing that's like kind of sucks about it is that it's an 18.5-hour drive to Florida. Oh, if we drive, and we usually drive. So, but the last 2 times I have to fly with the baby. Yeah. And then my husband drives with our dog.
Oh, I see. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a long way. That's a very long way.
Yeah. From Tennessee, we used to drive all the time. That was 12 hours. Okay. That's still kind of a lot.
Yeah.
And I would do it by myself all the time. Whenever he would
really?
leave. Yeah. Whenever he would leave for training, if it was like a month or more, I'll take my dog, lock everything up, and I would head out 12 hours by myself with the dog. Yeah, back home.
Okay. The third misconception is military couples are rich.
No.
No, let me explain.
Okay, yes. Because I feel like it's very vague.
Yes, it is very vague. Vague. It's vague. It is very vague because, like, I'm not gonna lie, I have family members who are doing well.
Yes.
And from the outside in, I'm looking and I'm like, oh, you know,
yeah,
they're doing great.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, I have some family members that are in the military.
Yeah.
That they're not doing so great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like a struggle. It's still like paycheck.
Yeah.
You know, but I see more of like good.
The good, yeah.
Yeah. Because like I like literally have 2 families in my mind right now that I'm like,
yeah,
they're good.
Yeah.
Like, it's coming in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So can you explain that?
Yeah, I feel like it all depends on your rank. How many years have you been in the military? Because that also plays a role. People say kids, but kids don't really raise your pay. And then, what was the other thing I was going to say? Also, depending on, like I said, their rank, but if they're enlisted or officer.
What's the difference?
The enlisted is like when you go in and you like no bachelor's or anything like that. Officers tend to you have to go through officer school and as well as have like a degree. I don't know what else is required because my husband is enlisted, so I really don't know too much about it. But the pay is very different. And not only that, but I feel like it also has to do with your spending.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, like I'm fortunate that I'm able to stay at home because I'm type A, very budget, and everything very has a place, and every dollar counts. So I'm able to stay at home and be comfortable because, I guess, of my expensive and the way that I handle my money. That's because some people can be, you know, they can earn $100,000 a year and be in debt, and I don't even, you know, half of that, and I'm living just fine, you know. So it all depends on the person. And again, if we go like to like money, it would be like your rank, how long you've been in the service, and stuff like that. Makes
more sense for sure. Good, thank you.
No problem.
The last misconception is military couples are in it for the benefits.
Mostly no. Okay. There's some people that I do know that did go because they didn't have anything else, or they don't have a degree, and they just kind of like want to go have a job where they know they're gonna like it, but it's not like their first priority, or you know, so they just go in because of the benefits of like insurance and healthcare especially, but there's people that also don't because they really want to be in the service. They really want to do all these stuff and be a ranger and special operations and all that kind of things. But also a lot of people go in because of school. There's a lot of, actually, I know my friend, it's one of them, she went to school, she did her bachelor's, and she needs to serve in the military for 3 or 4 years active, because the military pays for your education, which is a great thing, you know. To get, like, student debt exactly. And all that. So great. I know a lot of people that do that too, just, you know, so they can get college for free, and they don't mind, you know, doing the 3-4 years kind of thing. So definitely, it just depends on the situation. Yes, because there are benefits obviously for being in the military. Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, so that's good. Thank you. No problem. And a couple other questions before we finalize this conversation. Okay. What piece of advice would you give to a young couple who are in the beginning stages of being a military wife or husband? Because obviously we know it's not always military wives. Yes, military husbands as well. Too. Yeah. So what piece of advice would you give to the young couple, or to, it doesn't have to be young couple, but the couple that, you know, are dating or whatnot, and they know one or the other is in the military? You know, what advice would you give them? I think definitely do some research, just because the military world is very different from the civilian world. I would say myself, I don't have anybody in my family in the military besides my cousin, but other than him, I didn't really have anybody else, especially super close to me, that I kind of like saw that through. So I definitely had to do my research and learning a lot about the rules and all these stuff. Also, I would say patience. You really have to have a lot of patience to be in the military, or you're supporting somebody in the military, your family, somebody in the military. I feel like everybody gets, how do you say it? Como que les afecta. It affects. Like affects. Yeah, it affects everybody that's close to that person. Okay. So patience, and regardless of everything that goes on, enjoy what you can. Yeah. You know, just enjoy it and don't dwell on the bad stuff. Just kind of keep moving forward. Look at the positive all the time, because it'll go a long way. Absolutely. Being in the military, yeah. That's good.
And my final question to you are, like, what are some things you wish you knew coming into a military marriage? Yeah. That you would like to share with others?
I guess their work hours and how much time away they go on training.
So you underestimated the time.
Yes. I thought it was like a 9 to 5 kind of thing, you know, like, because again, I lived in the civilian world. Like, I never knew anything. So their work hours can be from 7 to 7, 9 to 5, 9 to 2. Like, it's like all over the place. And then sometimes they'll have duty, which is 24 hours on a week. weekend day. So, and then you have your deployments, and then top of that, they have training, whether it is in the field, you don't see them for 2 weeks, or you don't see them for a whole month because they have to go to New York to do a training because of their job, or because they're deploying and they have three trainings right before the deploy. So you don't see them for those 3 months or 2 months, and then on top of that, you don't see them for how many months they're deployed.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So I guess, like, for anyone listening out there who's either, you know, thinking about, I don't know, dating someone in the military, I don't know, whatever the situation is, or just so that you can just have an open mind to, you know, just be strong and know that time away is probably the top thing that you have to deal with.
Yes, definitely.
You know? So, you know, I would say
communicate a lot if you're distance.
Yeah.
A lot of communicating if you can do every single day. That's the best thing. Stay strong, and, you know, I pray a lot. My faith is something that really helps me keep going every single day. Support, whether it's from your family, friends, FRG group, other military wives or husbands, any support will be the best thing for you for those tough times in the military. For sure.
And to add on to what you're saying, like, if you're out there, like, don't isolate yourself. Don't suffer in silence. You know, find the community that you mentioned. Find your family. If maybe there's a situation that you don't have family, find someone who you can talk to so that you don't have to go through that
alone.
separation alone. So and keep God first.
Yes, above all.
Valeria, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you so much for joining me at the table. Now, tell me a little bit about your business, your small business.
Oh, yes.
I'm like, small business.
So I'm in the process of getting my license to own my business. I do photography. I've been doing it like on and off for about 5 years. And so what I do is I do weddings and lifestyle. So portraits, family sessions, maternity, lifestyle, newborn, let's see what else, engagement shoots, couples, everything I basically do. I'm a little bit here and there.
And right now you're based in the Central Florida area.
Yes.
So you're willing to...
I'm willing to travel.
Okay.
Yes. If you want me and your wedding is in Alabama, I will be there.
Yes.
I will travel for you.
That's awesome. Well, there you have it, girl. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
So much. Make sure to follow Valeria on Instagram at itsme_Valeria to get in on the scoop of her life and her adorable baby boy, Daniel. You know, if you have any questions that you personally want to ask Valeria, you can always DM her on Instagram at itsme_Valeria. And with any specific questions on military families or military spouses, or you want to join a group and make your own support group with her, you can do that as well. Also, if you are in need of a photographer to take some amazing wedding and lifestyle pictures,
Thank you.
can, if you want to check out her work, you can also go on Instagram at valeriarivera.photography. So go on and show her some love.
Thank you.
There you have it. Thank you all for tuning into Benevolence, where kindness matters and all are welcome to the table. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at Benevolence Podcast to know a little bit more about me and Benevolence. Benevolence Podcast is available on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeart Radio, TuneIn, wherever you get your podcasts. And finally, if there is a topic that you would like to discuss in the future, please do not hesitate to email me at benevolencepodcast@gmail.com with requests, petitions, or comments. I want to hear from you. And stay tuned for next Monday's episode of Benevolence. You don't want to miss it. Bye!